Mm. Well, we'll just see how this works. Oh, should we have more light for you?
And well, let me scooch and then maybe I'll be under better.
Here
that
we
better?
are. Yeah,
Okay.
here we are. You know, and we're gonna get better over time. I'm saying to you, hey, welcome to our makeshift studio. But I'm saying we have, stand-up tripod
Right
lights, like right there.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Where
okay.
we could do
We
it
could do it.
professionally, Hollywood level, but this is kind of like a just relaxed back talk right here. And if you even just listen to the audio, we'd be happy because we don't have any B-roll, and you're gonna see what you see the whole time we're talking. And it's a lot to see back there. And I always get enthused and happy when I can look back there and see babies and different parts of my life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We got some cards up there that we've been pulling.
We do.
So, Ia, who you have formerly known as Sangoma, and Anunaku.
Anunaku Odeyeme.
I was trying to remember that name.
Yes,
I was trying to remember that. What is it? Oribumi.
Oribumi.
That's right. Our head is given to it carries us.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember it earlier today. I said, what is her first name in Yoruba? So we've come through a few pages, and before the year just got really running off. And she's at my house, and we kind of came up to go pass through and go to Dr. Mark, and that's a whole story. And so we had all these really great stories.
Stuff happening right
Yes,
now.
we did. And so we wanted to share some of that because it just is good. It sets a tone.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of things as you do from both of us coming through on the Facebook posts and different things like that. He is getting ready to relocate. We're moving toward Changing Woman. We're now in this new year, 2023, of Crowns of Isis. And so,
absolutely.
we don't want you to fall through the cracks and miss the details. So where shall we begin?
Wow. Well, let's begin with the weekend.
All right. Last weekend.
Last weekend.
What should we say for a reflection? Give me yours first. As someone who visioned it and went forward and really kind of held the Northgate and kind of, opened the doors and said, y'all come on in. You closest to that, having actually come from Changing Woman the year before and traveled and got your feet wet in the year of how to do it.
Let me tell you about that journey though. It seemed like it came with a price. It was like a push through. It was a definitely had to push harder than I ever have with every level. And so getting there was always had its challenges, but it was like, no, we're gonna get there because there were also blessings in between the challenges. So it was first a deep commitment, to I really don't know what I'm getting into, but something is saying you need to get into it. So it was always kind of that. And then there were the blessings. And coming into that weekend, I didn't know. I didn't know, but I knew that we were all that in 2022, we'd all pulled a lot of weight, whatever was wrapping up.
Right.
We were doing it. And I didn't know who was going to be on the other side of that. I knew Ia was going to be there, and then this one sister ended up like a guy sent from the ancestors kind of swooped in and said, "I'll go," and then didn't know. Well, had heard about these three sisters, but didn't know. New soul tribe, and that's what's happening as well. We're finding new soul tribe, new family, tapping into those many dimensions of ourselves.
Absolutely.
As reflections through others.
Absolutely.
So it's really about letting go of all these preconceived notions of who it's going to look like, how it should come through. Right. And really just allowing the ancestors, like the brother said, the Alagba said, the ancestors bring families together.
They do. They do.
And I mean,
as you were saying, I was thinking about, well, isn't that the way for women? Number one. You know what I mean? We carry our stomachs so big, we carry the baby, and then labor happens.
Right.
And by the third stage, we realize we are in a labor. Yes. We are in a push. We are committed.
That was the week.
And that's what I totally got as you were talking about it. And to a certain extent, in both cases, I think what I come away with always and has really shaped and continues to shape who I am, not only as a locum's daughter, but respect the mystery. where do you go when you cast your preconceived notions aside and you no longer have an agenda and you don't know what the other side of it looks like, but you're committed to pass through it and see what the other side looks like. And I mean, if that was true for you, shall we even cross over to Clara Moon's article now about like what these particular different white women that were coming again with like so few details. Yes, we are going to an African village. Yes, we are going to a sweat lodge. Yeah, but they couldn't put all they couldn't put it all together until they were actually standing in that energy. In it. And that was pretty amazing. It was. Well, we had a phone call here. Shall we pause? Pause it. How do you do it? Pause. Okay. And we're back. Yes. And maybe Charlie will be clever enough to edit all that part, or maybe it won't even matter. We're pretty natural here. We just kind of go with the flow. But yeah, that was tremendous. That was an eye opener for me, I think, in knowing that we walked into crowns thinking, particularly for women of color, and particularly down a road that had not been carved out really for sisters. I mean, to a certain degree, with the society in Oyotunji was certainly my first experience of rites of passage. With all the trimmings, bells, and whistles, a year long, and so forth and so on. And when we came into this one and wanted to do all 7 gates, birth to death, and then 13 clan mothers and goddesses and archetypes and all the ways that it's evolving now, to have them, yet still they have their own sisterhood. It's not like they have enrolled in Crowns of Isis, but to anchor it and to be the 3 that were sitting there as we were moving into under the crown, and we haven't talked about what that meant yet. So I'm still even taking that in. I don't even think I have a total articulation about what all that meant. I think, like the old people used to say to me, it kind of remains to be seen. Maybe next January, this time, we'll look back and totally understand why they were chosen to witness that. All I could do, though, with the little bit of understanding I did have, was just say thank you for honoring the agreements that we made in many lifetimes. In many lifetimes before. Because let me tell you, that you could feel it. Yeah. You could feel that connection. Absolutely. It was palatable. So there was that. There was that. And I think for you and I, you probably participated in all the lodges that I've had there since the lodge was built. That was the hottest. That was the hottest. Those stones were pretty. Yeah, they were. We had big ones, big ones. You know, it was hot, and it everything has its reason. I as one who takes hot lodges, but who recognized where we were going, I was like, wow. So we knew we were dropping some stuff from 2022. We knew that, and to take that kind of heat to really get it off, drop it. Right. But what's ahead, it made sense. It did. It made sense. It did. And and then again, to move back to her article, the type of takeaway, download spiritually she got, not only from the experience, but the historic backdrop that she got dropped into to have that experience, really was amazing to me. I thought that surely after that part in its own container back there in Anago, we'd wrap it up on Sunday morning with a nice tour and a little bit of those historic parts for them. They didn't need any of that. No. The download came without that part. I mean, with Tikva connecting to the Orisha, all that. Hearing the whispers, the wind. She's like, is that normally? Checking everything. She could feel it, but she just had to check everything. What's happening here? I was like, oh, it's on. It's on right now. So take it all in. Feel it. Yeah. Yeah. So, and to be with sisters that were so humble, right? Like as if we can never get enough of that. That was a gift, absolutely, for moving forward into 2023. Not that those lessons won't continue to bring us into more humility or be humble, but to be able to be in the medicine with women that were so humble was also like the ancestors covered everything I felt. And I mean, I look back again. That's what they say, Sankofa bird, which is going on the front of our NEP door. We're so excited to do that at some point this year. But last year, when we began in Greenville, in the middle of a deep snow,
Yeah.
to go into changing woman with four women of color.
This part was good.
Right?
Okay, go ahead. Okay,
Yeah, no, I was just saying
yeah, that was deep.
the
That was
movement,
deep.
the
Yeah.
evolution from there
Yeah.
to where we found ourselves last weekend.
Right. Was four women witnessing the two that did make it through crowns, but to see the spirit that the ancestors in spirit just sent four.
Right.
It was like, wow.
Right.
Yeah, because that's how it began.
So I think we're having this conversation, and bless your heart, don't feel strange if you're sitting there going, what? We are trying to give you just a little background of what kicked off, launched certainly our next journey and adventures and evolutions into this year that we're walking into now, just ahead of next weekend, when in West Palm
Beach on the
Beach,
27th.
On the next Friday night, Ia will sit. I'm so flipped out. Oh, I'm at the Goddess Mystery School. I'm like, I know I intended to be there, but I'm not going to be there. And this queen is totally going to give an introduction to Crowns of Isis. And, it's kind of like, no, you're not in. Let us talk about it and kind of sit with the fire, and you get your questions and answers. You got a nice outline here of how to do it. So there's still time. I'm going to say that.
Yes,
and particularly wherever this video goes, certainly to women nearby in Florida, you definitely would want to check it out. But I think that segues right into the part where we are going to Africa by now. Everyone pretty much knows. Come March, Weighs the Truth. Here we are, talks with relations, just coming out of She Who Becomes and moving through February, Wisdom Keeper, all of us Pisces born under there. But by March, we will be over in Johannesburg, and you will still be here walking this journey with those still on this side that are walking this journey. And we just wanted to have a conversation about, what do you weigh out when it's a right fit, when it's a good fit, when you go, yeah, I'd love to do that. We had tons of people on the pictures and the posts we made that go, it looks amazing. I'd love to do it. And yet, I think both of us can sit here in absolute candor and truth and say it's not for everybody at every time. And when we sit at the edge of our choice, is this for me? What would I need to juggle in my life in order to make this balance and make this really work for me, where I really can move with the rhythm of these clan mothers and move with the energy of the flow, still doing my life and not cheat myself in a certain way, not bite off more than I can chew, so to speak. What do you think you advise to a woman that might be thinking about
I'm
doing
gonna
this passage?
say that, sisters, even in between all of that, there's still this unrest within that's saying, you know what, but there's more. There's more for me. Because, I'm playing life, but I'm playing it at this level. And something else has been compelling me. It's been calling me. And then it's just that point where you're honoring your truth. And hence, February Changing Woman is about that clan mother, wisdom keeper is about honoring her truth, tapping in and allowing that wisdom to say, you know what, and so, you know what, making it a priority, making a point to say, you know what, because there is a destiny that is calling me that is so much bigger. And I know this, but I'm here. I know I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to be mom. I get all that. But at some point, you have to take that leap. You have to take the fool's card in the tower. You got to step off to that cliff and say, you know what, I'm going to jump. And here's the beauty of it, is being a part of a sisterhood, where there is a group of women, that like in that weekend that helped birth. All of that was coming. It was like I knew I was going to do this, but then to have these beautiful beings be like, we got this part, it's nice to have a midwife and a doula, and your spouse and your partner and whoever can be there with you to assist you through it. So that's been also a blessing, being a part of something that where there's others who are there for you. And I don't even know how to word it because I don't want to say accountability
No,
because
but
it's
it
not.
is
Because
kind of
it kind of is, but
accountability to
see
oneself.
yourself. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's not always external, but the external that makes you, that compels you internal, deeply internal with yourself to take you past
Mhm.
the justifications and the
Right.
I'm okay. You know
Right.
yeah, that
I
take
mean,
you so much deeper that it's like
bullshit,
yeah, that
you
take you
know?
so much deeper where you press into that point of pressure and you're like, oh,
Right.
that part,
That part.
that part,
Mhm.
and be held. So yeah, because it was worth it, and I didn't know. I kind of didn't know the depths of where this would end up taking.
Not at all. I don't think anybody sees that coming. And it's a little bit part of the intrigue. But I was thinking about the notes that was shared with you last night from some astrology report I heard, and I landed on this: make self-honoring choices.
Mm.
And that was huge.
No, it is. It is.
So we make all kinds of choices throughout life, throughout a day.
Self-honor.
But and I think I said this to you last night. I said, nobody raised us on that. They wrote it's just on good decisions,
Right.
bad decisions, powerful choices,
Right.
weak choices.
Right.
Okay, they use
Right.
a lot of
Different
words,
right,
right?
honor.
But self-honoring decisions. If you could hold up any decision you make and ask the first question, does this honor the self?
Your truth is tied into that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And what we feel we need, we should, what it should, could do for other people, and does it honor them, and does it honor whatever I was writing it in the guidebook today about this martyr thing, the things you're releasing, the martyrdom, the ego, the persona, self-deception, all that to get to arrive at self-honoring decisions or choices. And so we're excited about it. Obviously, you can tell, because I think what excites us the most in having moved to this level of it ourselves and knowing where our potential was and how this is grounded and secured and supported our work in the world, we see a ton of us. I know I do. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, man, you just need to really take this weekend in the woods and pour some water on a stone and like really activate that prayer to the point where you can manifest it. You're no longer in the dream. Maybe I kind of would have when I get, enough money, this, that, and the other thing. And as you said, just really dance the self-deception for number one, that false entertainment that you'll do it later, you'll do it later, you'll do it later. So enough said. I'm going to say that because I'm not a salesperson. I'm not trying to sell anybody a
not
pitch.
at all. No.
I'm basically, under the guide that's already, we have covenants and agreements. So it's already understood who are the women who are coming. Right. But we thought we give, a little explanation because we are definitely getting inquiries and questions about how and what it includes and how to do it. There is an amazing companion guidebook, which I love. Like I was sharing with you, The Artist's Way, and now she has a workbook that goes with it. That is a great thing. And I think out of the books that we have done in the past with Earth Skills and Instruction, like, I always have one. I always have like, the hour, 90 minutes is whatever it is, but take this with you when you reflect back and when you go back to different parts you want to continue to work on. So that's coming up is also exciting. And then I want to talk about, because I just want to put it out here, I do that. What are you thinking about meeting me in Nigeria? Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there's the African village, and then there's Nigeria.
There's Nigeria.
Yeah.
Nigeria's been calling. When you wake up in the middle of the night going, Ile-Ife. I mean, Ile-Ife. I mean, just random,
or Oyegu, and you don't even know these words, right?
And you don't.
Yeah, it's a pretty big messenger.
Yeah, then you sit. These pathways have led me to the lineage, and now the lineage is calling, and to be there with you, and what you're going to be experiencing in that, and it's, I'm like, I'm committed to it. Soon as I know there's money coming, as soon as it comes, there it goes.
Yeah,
because that's happening.
Yeah,
That's happening. I couldn't make South Africa March. I realized that wasn't it because I have, in my own transition.
Right.
That part?
The end of
No, I
April.
am.
We'll be,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm there.
we'll be there.
I'm there with
I'm
you.
excited.
Hey,
I'm excited, you know.
see.
And I said it to Abai Ebuyemi, you know, as she was doing the divination for us. One of my I would want to open my eyes as a Yawo and see certain people there because even now, 20 almost 21 years later, to me, the state of Yawo, that state newly and is almost the holiest moment walking the earth that I know. And it's not just as simple as a shaved head or white clothing. Again, I'd be hard pressed to describe it, but to a certain extent it's all of what we've been talking about in rights in the crowns thing, is that you come into, or for me, I'll put it that way, I certainly wouldn't want to speak for every Yawo, but for me, coming through a 3-year period of Yawo, many Yawos do a year, some only do 6 weeks. We chose to do 3 years, and um, what I noticed is by the very rights and guardrails of that state of being, it calls one into oneself to an absolute sovereignty. Like you get inside there, and that part where you put your money down, you don't even be touching other people's hands. You ain't looking in mirrors. Like you got your own seat, you have your own dishes. Like it's such a container of your oneness. And in this particular social climate, where are people like that? You know what I mean? Maybe sitting in the park listening to bird songs, but not really. That you come into that stillness, the TOA that we were talking about, and listening woman, just by the virtue of the state you're in. Yawos don't talk unless they are spoken to or asked a question in particular. We wear a veil. We're not even looked upon for a certain period of time. So it's like being in the world, but not of it. And how many old people told me that? They say, oh, yeah, you'll have it when you learn to be in the world, but not of it. And that period to be going there, even leaning toward that. This is just jumped over the whole part of meeting Sangomas and doing medicines and stuff in South Africa.
Right.
And walking with elephants and all of that part, and jumped over to what actually I thought I would be doing in all of my visions and dreams of going to Africa. I knew I would go to where my lineage originated, in Yoruba land, Ilefe, and Dahomey. I knew that. And yet I just overlooked that whole part of my soul that is very much written into certain historic things that happened in South Africa, apartheid,
You know what?
countless
And
parts.
it is your time. It is your time. It is so your time, and it's like so well deserved. And I mean it. And I've probably been on this journey the shortest length of all the people that you
People that
know.
I know.
But I'm so honored because it was my ancestors, we made agreements and they led me to you to bring me back to these traditions.
Absolutely.
I mean, like,
And we knew it. I can still remember that porch
like this
on Beck
out,
South when
this
I met
out.
you. I felt it. I mean, I was struck immediately. And it made me look you up and okay, Ace of Diamonds. I knew it. And certain things just kept jumping into place about who you were. But to say, what now, 3 years later, maybe, that through a pandemic and all like that, that we would now be walking like that, really having a much higher understanding of what some of those agreements were between our ancestors, what we bring to the table for each other and for others, and how
So
we're
I've
able
got
to
to see
hold that.
this. I've got to be in Nigeria,
Yeah.
the place of origins for these traditions. I know for me, to see witness you being initiated is going to mean everything to me.
Aw.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm there.
I'm so excited about that part.
Whatever I got to say,
Yeah, we're gonna make it happen.
Whatever.
And what is it called? Adornments?
Yes, Anunaku's body adornments.
Yes, body adornments. And so you can support that. I did want to speak. So now we're at the commercial part. No, I said that. I said that. Shameless not.
No.
So there are many things coming.
Yeah.
The obviously Crowns of Isis is one year-long passage. There are monthly payments, which this year did. It was just more comfortable. Or you could do the whole year, or you could get sponsored, or lots of parts to that. Inquire. But the fact that you are relocating to Gainesville, gonna do an African market, the fact that I am going to Florida or Skills, and I've said to many people, you will see me with my market now. You will see me with pie and straw baskets. You will see me with books, because we are raising funds for a number of things, the least of which is that piece in Nigeria. And that's what I realized as I'm finishing up my 7-year, and the world has just stepped into a 7-year, and that whole part of initiation is that 8 of Xfinity. That just hit me when you said, it's your time, because you're about the third person that said that I told that I was, it is really your time to do that, and I'm just in awe of doing it. I don't even think I got to it, but in a certain given is that all my life I could have gone, certainly could have gone, had thousands of friends that have gone, and I was stopped every time because it was impossible for me to go for a week, 10 days, I just knew I wouldn't. And my ancestors kept saying, you are going, but your children need to be grown and have grown children, and you need to be leaving North America in a way that you can really feel good about it.
And let me tell you,
right there.
Yeah, and she don't play with that.
Listen, I don't.
No, and that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing to me. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because if you're gonna show up for something like that, show up being able to be fully present. Don't leave half of yourself where you left. Be fully present where you are. And I knew that was a part of the package deal. So I was like, okay, I'll wait.
So it's a blessing to be, in that energy and under that teaching. And when I say under, I don't mean like under, but like literally, if you're going to step into a queendom, if you're going to step into a rites of passage for 12, 13 lunations of the moon, or this energy is how you want to do it. Because what comes with that, too much is given, much is required.
Yeah.
At the same time, to move in excellence with no loose ends. This. Listen, I just can't speak enough about what's ahead.
Absolutely.
I'm not a saleswoman either, but
right. And it's it has that edge to it, and you and I have both witnessed the ones that want to cozy, and boom probably is not that one. There is a sternness that comes with this Obatala, the Virgo moon, attention to detail. And I would say
I can hang.
Yeah, and if you can hang, but it's a good reason. If I were on the other receiving end of it, I would say, and I have been, I can't say that any of my teachers were slouches. No, that would not be true. And I called my destiny, called teachers that would hold me to an account, way showers that would say, yep, you can come along, but you need to do it this way. And they weren't being, hard asses. They were just letting you know that if not, you will set yourself back. You'll probably repeat a couple of things that you didn't want to do. So be thorough the first time going through. Take your time. Really, really be observant. And that's a big part.
And for a sister who committed to clear karma from 8 lifetimes, it was like I needed some serious players. I needed some strong, like, listen, no nonsense. Even the lessons I've taught myself were ridiculously, challenging and hard. But it was like, you know what? When I'm done, I'm done.
And you're in a 9th lifetime. I mean, you just said it all. To have 8 lifetimes before you that you consciously are aware of, stuff is coming in to be sewn up, and titles loose ends up. Don't leave nothing hanging. That's big work. Most people on the day-to-day, on the daily, are not even in that consciousness, but that's why we're here. And we thought we'd just do this video. Have we left anything really important out? Just to keep an eye out. I mean, you can see really in relationship. We're not going to say we updated the website. Maybe it'll happen before we go.
Yep.
But yeah, maybe we'll go. It doesn't really reflect where Crowns is now. I usually send people to Kindred or Sangoma.org
Yeah, yeah.
if they needed a little background. I will say if it's all really new to you and you kind of want to get your feet wet and kind of, hang out for a minute, come on down to the Florida Earth Skills. I have said this from the very beginning, and I do more than
Okay.
6, 7 Earth Skills events a year. Florida is its own situation. It is so amazing, and it must be because of the diversity of peoples. Um, Also just a young energy. We have sort of the older ones at the old Earth Skills and Firefly. You got Asheville, you got a mixture of all people. But down here in Florida, these people, the first one I went to, and I think it's about 11 or 12 years old now. Do they have a kitchen? No. The entire outdoors is their kitchen. And they dug stoves and made stoves and ovens in the ground.
And that's stuff you need to
And
know.
they had that dinner ready on the point.
Wow.
I say that
Okay, when
story
is
every
it?
time. It is my birthday weekend.
Okay.
And so it's the last week of
After
February.
changing women.
And my birthday is that last Saturday. And it's what a great celebration. The next week we leave for Johannesburg. But yeah, they are on top of it. I mean, just anything, all the Earth Skills are really good, but some are good at a lot of different things. Another thing I like about is they have like a peaceful warriors, but now men doing their healing and taking themselves off to the absolutely not. Years and years and years of Earth Skills with moon lodges and this for the with red chant for women, this for women, and the men was kind of there's like when y'all coming down, when y'all coming out to the drum circle and stuff like so they felt a little left out, and these young men finally did it, and to do it with the power that when women attending with their young sons would bring them and say, okay, great, y'all over here. And they say, no, but we're not ready to take your young sons. This is about us healing wounds.
Okay.
That we don't want to pass.
Right. Wow. That's yeah, that is deep.
They've had a BIPOC circle, a bus, just to bring the privileged and entitled into a humility that says you can't step into a circle of people of color and one up them. You will sit out here. You have a time to be acknowledged, to speak. Noble. They really have some deep stuff. These young people, that say, okay, we observed how people have done harm to each other, speaking their good intentions. And we are not going to continue to perpetuate it. And as I say, every Earth Skills is different. Like if you went to Whippoorwill up in Kentucky, they're all about the frecking and the cutting off of the mountaintops and stuff. So they have political people stuff. Every single one has its own character, but it's warm in Florida. It's at the end of February. And I say, if you want to get a good taste,
where can they go to
Florida Earth Skills Gathering.
Okay.
It has its own Facebook page. Yeah.
And then we want to also Clear Moon. She blogs.
Right. And look for that. People have it posted and shared it.
You definitely want to follow her.
No doubt. No doubt. Just came back from Italy, but again, to be such a channel, like what you will read in this young lady's article or blog, she literally read to me over the phone like a couple of nights ago, and it washed over me like, wow, never in my wildest imagination, and I have a pretty good imagination, could I visualize a takeaway like that. So what would run through the soul of a rather privileged white young lady riding away from Oyotunji with that in the rearview mirror. That's what you get when you read her blog. So again, don't take our word for it. Check her blog out.
LadyWisdom.substack.com.
Thank you for that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I see her. Like I would totally. Yeah, absolutely. So I give thanks for her and our other sisters, Kashaveli.
Yes.
And Tikva.
Beautiful voice. The whole time we were there, I was like, I don't even believe she doesn't sing a song for us. Not even around the price, right? She was in it. So there'll be another time.
Nancy,
who took care of the beloved orphan dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And was gracious enough to say, I'll drive you up there. I'll go. I'm down,
Yes, and she did.
and received sisterhood.
Have you talked to her since last weekend?
Nancy was in her heart the whole way back.
Mhm. About the
And
dog.
that, well, just in general, the dog brought her to her heart
Mm.
and was really, because when she sat at the fire with me,
Mm.
she was saying she wanted to really experience love. Remember, all her prayers were
I
around
love
love.
that loving herself when she got to the point I put a little makeup
Yes.
on. She just started working.
Yeah, I'm gonna start giving myself some
And
more
giving
love and attention.
myself some more love and
But she
attention.
was totally like the prayers that went into that were
Mhm.
birthing forth.
Mhm.
And she was in her heart.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Nice.
yeah. And one thing was
So,
so yeah, so everybody, I just want to say thank you for everything. It was beautiful, beautiful,
absolutely.
beautiful time. I'm looking forward to
Absolutely.
Crowns of Isis this year. I'm looking forward to see all the agreements, like you said, that
Absolutely.
we made with each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if you need to contact me, Anunaku,
Mhm.
my phone number is 561
Mhm.
506-3751. I'm in the West Palm Beach area.
Okay.
If you can't be local and on for the times that we are gathering together, follow the schedule because we are going to be branching out and being in different locations, having
Absolutely.
different experiences throughout these 13 lunations
Absolutely.
of the
Some powerful ones.
yeah.
We're going to
absolutely.
the land of reparations,
North Carolina,
142 acres up there in the
absolutely.
mountains, Medicine Bowl and
Absolutely.
Medicine
Good
Way.
Yep. Inherit land,
Truly.
land where healing happens. And we're going to look into Gainesville
Mhm.
one of those times, and then
Mhm.
West Palm Beach again.
And we'll be back at Onago around the Ancestor Festival, hoping to invite you now to come in and celebrate our ancestors
that
with it.
October?
That's the end of May.
Okay. Oh, end of May.
The
Okay.
end of
Okay.
May, just as we're getting back from Africa, and I can't even imagine the person that will be coming back from Africa. And yeah, then in the fall, just really good stuff. Just from Freedom, Georgia, some other gatherings we have had that have, and every time we go to one, it sheds some, we share some, we exchange some, and one of those parts is the seat of the Empress and the ceremony of Mass, the shedding of like whatever that is that we wear so that we feel safe in our relationships and stuff like that. So, and before I go, I would say that I'm remiss to not say, and they are pushing me, but I haven't gotten there yet. We'll get there. To now really come to this YouTube channel, Kindred of Sangoma YouTube channel. We definitely ask you to subscribe and like and do all of that because it helps the channel and it helps us bring it up. But don't even sleep the fact that 2023 is a big year of earth changes. Hear me say that. And as I said to my children that lived in New Orleans, maybe like after Katrina, but like still heavy rains and the levee system wasn't quite for us. Listen, you need some rubber boots in your trunk. You need, a special Ziploc case for all your important papers, birth certificates, things like that. Things that you need to think of, as they say, if shit hits the fan, okay? Because we see where we are with the storms and the snow and the ice, and then it's warm, and like we see, and what that could look like moving through spring and hurricane season and a couple of volcanoes and earthquakes, and trust us on this. And this is not a henny penny moment. It's not a scare tactic. It is simply to say, Girl Scout, 14 years and a Girl Scout mom, be prepared. Because if you gathered those things together and had an idea of what your go-to is or what you would do next, that's just such a calmer place to live from than to live in the threat of, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't hear the weather. Okay. You gotta be prepared on some level. Particularly for things that you don't expect, like power outages, and you can always charge your phone. Well, guess what? Can't charge it if there's no electricity. What do you do? What are your communications? Who do you need to communicate if systems go down? And I probably will put that at the end of most of my lives and things like that because it's real. Point blank, it's real. You can look at any number of psychics, astrologers, earth people, and they will tell you, well, we don't know which way it's going to go, but there's going to be an intense amount of water, pretty much across the globe, there will be all types of levels of flooding and raining and winds and stuff like that. So if you didn't know anything else, know that we're coming out of a pandemic. You got to build your body system. Should we cover that even a minute?
Yeah.
About going to Dr. Mark today, your very first experience. I've been with Dr. Mark over 25 years. He's a wizard, and he's ahead of his time. But what did you find when you walked into a Hemke Center for Wholeness today?
Wow. I'm gonna tell you what, my
Yes.
body was so out of array that when I went in, I felt like discombobulated.
Sure.
Yeah.
6 lanes of traffic will do that to you.
Yeah. When you come in such a calming space, you can see what you're really working with, but when you're out there in it all the time, you don't realize that you're going like this.
Right.
Yeah. So when I got there, I felt really off and I was like, damn. So I went in, staff is amazing, from the sister at the desk, Angela, to the assistant that was just so gracious to really connect with me. A lot of connection.
A lot of connection.
And so very beautiful and tapping in, very tapped in, very tapped in. And so what I experienced was a body scan. I didn't have to take any urine. I didn't have to give any
blood work.
I just literally held this. Yeah, and I mean, it was running through my body.
Talking about your organs, talking about your
fluids. And then they wanted to hear your voice, right, to see what your inner voice is.
Right.
Like, oh, what should I say?
Right.
It was deep.
Yeah.
So, it was all very effortless. They come in a very common, and, you go through all this, but it's intense. It's really deep work, but once again, it was effortless. It was calming. It wasn't a whole bunch of, sticking, jabbing, poking, prodding. Come here, come there. Open your mouth. None of that.
Very calm.
And, he's sitting and it's doing what it's doing. And so you're like, wow. So then he began
to take you through the meditation, which he has done with me several times, to realize again that key part that I say to people: there's your body, and then there's your emotional body, your mental body, and your spiritual body. And when that imbalance shows up, he'll just grab he'll just grab it right into a meditation so it can get lined up.
Yes. And he did that because he saw what chakras were being affected. And so he did the meditation accordingly.
Nice.
And that was amazing. And then he allowed me an opportunity to share whatever I needed to share and center myself, again. And then we went in. Oh, this is this part. There was this machine.
Right. I call it Tesla.
She calls it Tesla.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name on it, but there were all these different options. Like, right. I'm not giving justice, but okay. So there were all these options for what I would be sitting with this machine, this technology. And it had those, remember like Frankenstein with those lights, the electricity coming out of the top, and all of a sudden it's like, woo, and and it's buzzing and it's doing things, and you're just to sit there and allow what it's doing is it's regenerating and like probing your cells. Wow. And at first all I could do was laugh. I don't know if I was laughing because it was hitting some joyful spots, like, oh, remember this part of yourself? But it was just the fact that this technology exists. And I was holding these scanners and I said, remember we used to watch movies about this in the 80s?
Star Trek. I said when the phones came out, I was like, tricorder. There it is.
All the Schwarzenegger movies. But it was a really amazing experience. They put me through 3 rounds of cells, but accordingly to different the different choices that he had on there. Some were for the pancreas, some were one I did was called Purifying Recovery 22. And that really caught me. I said, can I do that one? And he was gracious. He said, yeah, sure. And then there was one for inflammation, diabetes, for different organs. It was really like it was whatever he saw on that scan and whatever you brought. There was one for chakras, alignments. So it was like, these were extensive. I think it was about 3 of them. The 3 of them probably took about 50 minutes all in total.
Plus the fact that the scan optimized whatever it signaled, it brought you up immediately.
Absolutely. Right.
Right. And it didn't fix everything, but it raised the vibration.
Well, you got to do your part. That's here we talked about that from the beginning. It's about the commitment, being honoring the self. Okay, because I mean, I could go in there and I had a groovy time, it was amazing,
right,
and not do any of the things that are required of me to do.
But there is
and to continue this.
Yeah.
Like, give this to myself.
Right.
This is next level for how Anunaku is seeing herself and honoring herself and saying, you know what, Queen? You deserve this high technology
Absolutely.
stuff. Yeah, it doesn't
And
matter.
how well are we invested in the body avatar? Yes, we are souls or divinity having a human experience, but hey, guess what? If you don't tend this human as well as you tend your cell phone or your car, there's gonna be a problem.
And let me tell you something that came up that
I
weekend.
bet it did.
Yeah, when my body was taxed, my performance,
Mhm.
so you can be as spiritual as you want. When your body starts talking and breaking down, it's
Right.
like, well, how
I'm
clear is all of
tired.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, how clear is all that channeling through?
Yeah.
And so it was a gift. It's just aligned.
Yeah.
It's just aligned.
So a Hemke Center for Wellness, I think
Hemke.
it's .com. In fact, we have a card right here.
Okay, good.
We have a
Nice.
card right here. We keep lots of
Nice.
the Dr. Mark card. And so maybe,
Amazing. Warm, brother. Very
can you see the website on
I
there?
can.
Have to
It's
put
a Hemke Center for Wholeness. Oh, no, a Hemke.net. No, a
there
Hemke.
you go.
Yeah, Hemke.net.
Mm-hmm.
A Hemke Center for Wholeness. That would be
Yeah.
that's the site.
Yeah.
And it's in Roswell, Georgia.
And
But let
it's
me
in
tell you something. I
Roswell,
drove.
Georgia.
Listen, I drove.
9 hours
Yeah, 9 hours.
from
And then
West Palm Beach,
yeah,
Florida. Talk about committed, the most committed win.
but come a day before. Don't try to drive straight in.
Don't
Right.
drive straight
Don't
in.
drive straight in. So make
Because
sure you have
then
a
you
conversation.
sabotage what you're coming to get, which is what we said to beloved here. We said,
Yeah.
oh no, you can't do it like that. You better have rest breaks
Yeah.
where your body can absorb
Yeah.
and integrate what is actually happening.
Absolutely. But
So we're just totally excited about all of the
it's a whole
parts.
new thing happening.
Totally
So thank you
excited
for that
about it.
information too, because in the Dagara traditions 3 is nature clan, and this is the year of nature.
It is.
It really is.
Sister Kifu will say, it is my year. I'm a
Yeah,
nature
mine
Nagara.
too.
Are you a nature?
I'm a nature clan. That's why, hence,
Yeah.
all this they're speaking. Take care of yourself. Get up.
Yes.
Listen. Your crown.
Yeah.
It's our time.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful.
And I'm a water Dagara, so I can see that too, to just watch my fluidity.
Well, I mean,
And,
we
you
need
know,
nature
watch-
needs water.
Yeah,
What would we
absolutely.
be without?
Watch my fluidity. Don't get stuck.
Yes.
Water goes up, around, or under, or over. You know what I mean? Keep fluid. And that also definitely speaks to the year in front of us. Just make no mistake about that. You can't get caught up in the crazy. Do not get caught up in the crazy. Probably nobody but an ex-reporter like me even watches the level of crazy, but it has its safeguards. There's only so far the crazy could go, and then it's going to get stopped right there. And the other piece I'm going to tell you, remember I told you, watch Jeffries in the House, watch Wes Moore, the new African-American governor, I believe is either Delaware or watch them two brothers right there, all right. The country thought it had a little shock with Obama. I got news for you. He got Ken. He got back. Because these two brothers coming up, they're not taking no lumpty dumpty at all whatsoever.
Okay.
And both are extremely eyes wide open.
You know what? And that's that's timely because once again, with the nature characteristic is authenticity.
Right.
You cannot be inauthentic with nature.
And that
it will pull it all back.
And that's what I love, that is so refreshing. They're just going to hold it to the line. We the people, for the people, by the people. Set them politics and that crazy over there, because we're here to do work that's meaningful for the people. And as we go through this crash and burn and try to rebirth on the way to the new earth, we need brothers like that.
Well, I see that everybody that's being elevated this year is about that.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be. There's not a whole lot of other choices in the room. Well, you could, but it looked crazy.
Yeah. But no, it's like the universe is raising those people up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the planet is speaking.
Yeah. I think the last little part going by, they won't let me go, but there's so many parts.
There are.
Is this on Monday nights, ladies' night, that and it comes on through Freebird Tarot. And week before they did Fannie Lou Hamer, and I was just there and listened to it twice and listened to it again. And I'm a Fannie Lou Hamer lover. lover. And there was just so much that I did not know that they tapped into. These are psychic women who literally are calling in the energy of Fannie Lou Hamer to sit with her and get some truth on the ground about how she felt, what happened. You know, it's
the
a
story
learning.
still tell the
It's a
story still
learning.
be telling itself. Yeah, absolutely. There's more.
The youngest of 20 children. Who knew that? Then they went on, maybe it was just this past week, to a Native American sister named Lida. And I'm going to look her up again. Never heard of her. Who she and her two sisters built a shack on their burial grounds because they meant you wasn't coming in, boo, with their shotgun. They meant you wasn't coming in. Like you had to, they went, I think she went to the Supreme Court about how they just think like, they did the Indians when they first got here, like, okay, we're white people, we're telling you where you can go now. And we're going to dig up all your dead people and move them with you. And she was like, no, you're not.
Right.
No, you're not. Right. And she left this world with that being a complete conservatory. It will forever be taken care of. What a life is that? What a life. So I'm just saying to say, again, it's called Ladies Night. It's on Monday nights, I want to say at 7 p.m. Freebird Tarot. And these young women really tap into that's why they call it
No, I
Ladies
believe
Night.
in that.
Women whose lives, like you might have thought you knew something
Right.
about the level of sacrifice or what a woman is willing to do when she means she is not backing down. She means that. Take her very seriously. So far, I've been watching just a minute, maybe a month or two, just about 4 Mondays, and I have been impressed, just deeply impressed with the information that I learned. There's a lot going on there. The mediums, as I said, they're getting a lot of different energies and putting a lot of things together about what those lives lived then mean to lives like this living now. There's just so many levels of it that is great and fantastic.
That urgency's been hitting too heavy. Like, I remember you said to me one time, you fought hard to get here. And I didn't understand that because for me, I'm like, no, there's some people that fought hard to be here, so that we could be here. But what's interesting is I feel the urgency now to be so committed and connected to the ancestors because they're like, listen, we done did this. How long are you going to continue to play small? How long? We paved this way.
That came up when she was speaking, that part of like she couldn't play small.
Let me tell you, I'm feeling that and I'm grateful. And I think that they're doing that because they're like, Anunaku, how long? And the one thing I love about this is we're gonna keep it 100. Like, nobody came to this already, nobody arrived. It was a journey to get here. And shit, listen, 5 minutes ago. But what I'm gonna say is my son, I sat in his chair, he was cutting my hair, true story. And I was just sitting in all the blessings. It's coming off this weekend, that last weekend we had together. And I sat in his chair and I started cutting and I had standards set. I said, listen, if you can't give me a good haircut, if you can't come correct my cut, don't
even mess with it.
Don't, right. And so he looked at me and said, okay.
Yeah.
And he came correct. Right. But he was sharing something with me that was so beneath his character. And I sat in the chair and I started to weep because all I could hear is, we fought hard to get here. Right. We fought so hard to get where we're at, and we're here. We broke the cycle. No, we broke the cycle. We fought hard to break this cycle. And I looked at him, and I was like, I'm not going to allow you to reduce yourself to that bullshit. Right. I said, you know what? No, you are better than that. You are here. You are the standard. You are this. And I began to just give it to him, and he looked at me, and I said, I can't. Right. We fought too hard to break these fucking cycles. I cannot allow you to play small. Exactly. The choice is ultimately going to be yours. I can't because I'm not. We fought too hard to break these cycles.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I say that like with humility, not like,
right.
But it's just like,
because it is humbling.
There's something that's like it's time because the pathways have been laid, and it's like, come on, let's walk this.
Right.
Let's take this walk.
Right.
Let's take this walk.
Right. So, no backing down, no turning around. Right. Just go straight forward.
Honor your truth and the truth of your ancestors,
Absolutely.
which is your truth.
We didn't get to read that invocation. Maybe I'll just turn here and just give you a sample of it because I'm going to do it. This is the Black Angel Oracle. And this young lady who was Deborah someone from a project who had dreams of all these archetypes that came in her dreams and downloaded this to her. And here we are 25 years later.
And we have an oracle, oracle deck maker in West Palm Beach, Blanche Williams.
And she is now a whirling dervish. Okay.
Wow.
It's just real serious. But there is a part in here that is just divine. All right, how about this? Since we were just talking about family, home, and people like that.
Okay.
To all ancestors who were enslaved, enchanted are your souls. Your bloody feet cracked the seashells that lay beneath the sand on the seashores of our beginnings. I call for the healing of those feet in us and in those around us. Breathing wind, 1,000,000 years old. I got goosebumps. Can you even say that? Breathing wind, 1,000,000 years old, left in the thicket of trees and foul marshes. Come, ancestors, to the table where we eat rice that you have given us. Come feel the cotton clothes we wear because of the crops you harvested. Come, let us kiss your hands that swelled long after sunset each day. If only all that which you loved and lost came back from the heavens, back from beneath the sea. We walked the sacred land where you withered and rose again despite horror. We honor you for surviving our beginnings. That's taken from an inbox. No, I told you that's why it's in the bug, because she laid it right on out there, and that's just a piece of it. And that's what we give you. We give you the real and true. We've said it in a number of ways. We give you the 100. We're here for you.
And you're here for us.
Yeah, and you're here for us. Even when we don't play with the machine world, which I will say I try not to, but they're dragging me in a little bit more because we move so fast, and stick with us and keep an eye out, keep an ear out, practice that listening exquisitely. You will hear everything that you need. And most of all, you don't have to make anything happen. You came with covenants and agreements from your ancestors, and you will walk them. You will, one way or the other.
Right on.
One way or the other. I think that's a good place
to stay. I had to travel. I had to sojourn.
Right? That might be a place to bid farewell to the next time. Yeah. All right. Love it. We're going to end right there. Peace and love and blessings.